Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and this is Taylor.
Hello.
And we've decided to do an episode of Come Drink With Me based around OKCupid questions and how ridiculous they are. I think that we're doing so much good stuff that I might end up having to do like a 2 or 3 part version of this video. I just hit you with that. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Would you be willing to pay for good sex?
I'm again glad this question is here. It's one of those things that's gonna attract a lot of problematic stuff. My politics are inclusive of sex work and of sex workers.
Yes.
So if your politics aren't, then we won't agree.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like if your feminism does not include sex workers, then it's not feminism.
Yeah, and like that's pretty much what I think. Although I don't feel like I get to use that language. One of the things in our culture that I find really baffling is this idea that paying a sex worker for sex is seen as like so taboo. It's something you could never like casually bring up in conversation. It's something that like you might only tell 1 or 2 close confidants that you've ever done. It's this big taboo thing, and is seen as just so immoral and such an affront to human rights by like people who consider themselves progressives, that they will fight to have it encoded in law. That sex work should be a crime and sex workers should be sent off to some Salvation Army re-education camp.
Ugh.
But going online and going to like Pornhub or whatever porn site you frequent, and watching and getting off to a video ripped from a sex worker's pay site is not only not problematic, it's just completely accepted.
Yeah.
And it's literally the difference between supporting someone's livelihood and stealing from it.
Mm-hmm. People who have this like notion that everybody who's in sex work got there not by choice, and that's incorrect.
And some people didn't get there by choice, and like,
yes.
There are aspects of the sex trade that are like really fucked up. Like, I think I read some statistic that like a very, very large portion, almost 70% of people in sex work in like the downtown east side in Vancouver are First Nations women, and get coerced into the sex trade at ages as young as like 13 to 15. Okay. So there are aspects of the sex trade that absolutely need to be fought, for sure. But to cast sex work in general as something that is inherently wrong, as opposed to tackling the aspects of it that are unsafe, and that are coercive and that are bad, is a huge oversight, on the part of people across the political spectrum.
Yeah, I wonder how many people, to go back to what you said before about those street lamps in Vancouver in that one area,
yeah.
I wonder how many people would have like voted against putting them there if they knew that it would have been used to make lives safer for people who are in the sex trade.
Exactly.
And that's ridiculous.
Like, nobody ever asks, actual sex workers about this shit.
No. Should girls spit or swallow after oral sex?
Should guys?
Yeah. Should guys? Is there not an option to ejaculate elsewhere than in somebody's mouth when they're giving a blowjob? And why do you get to choose what that person's going to do when you happen to unload in their face? There's so much wrong with this question that I just don't even understand. Like, why is this a question? It's completely up to personal preference. Also, yeah, girls, guys, anybody who's not gonna gender binary to either one of those, for example. Like, you could rewrite this question.
You shouldn't.
Would your preference be for your partner to swallow cum, spit cum, or let you know, or for you to pull out so they don't have to make that choice? Or, like, I don't know. Like, there's there must be a better way to put this question, and also like
There shouldn't be a should.
yeah, there shouldn't be a should at all. Like, should girls spit or swallow? Like, there's no,
gross.
like, that's just saying that, like, every single person of this gender, or anybody who likes to suck cock, has to do it this one way. And it's like, no, as we've
Yeah.
talked about before, there's more than one way to suck a cock.
Yeah, and it ties into ableism too, like, you know, not being able to swallow cum. If you can't physically do that, that is a physiological limitation.
Yeah.
Every bit as much as, like, not being able to ride a fucking bike.
Yep.
Like, it's, if you can't do that, that limitation should be respected.
Yeah, there should be no should in that at all. Okay, do you want to open that in my face and get some comeuppance, or... I kind of feel bad that I sprayed you in the face with beer. I didn't mean to.
Comeuppance, really.
Yep.
Okay. That just sprayed this way!
Do you consider a person's social class when interacting with them?
This is a question that I'm gonna assume 90% of people have answered no to. Well, of course I don't. And it's like, the whole, like, I don't see race thing, you know, is most problematic when it comes to race, let's not lie. But the, like, I don't see social class, you're lying to yourself earlier about, like, are you employed? Is that not seeing social class? Is that not considering social class when you interact with somebody?
Yeah.
If you had a full-time job, if you had a part-time job, if you were homeless, if you had never worked, if you couldn't work, I would interact with you differently because I've been conditioned to interact with you differently. And, you know, like, if you were a person who couldn't work because of a disability, you'd be like, hey, we're on the same team, you know? It's like, you know...
Yeah, exactly.
The nature of our conversations would change. But, like, if you chose no to, like, would you date somebody who couldn't work, that is considering a person's social class in your interactions with them.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't do the whole... Like, it's an explicit class filter. So why would you say no?
Now, I think potentially when they were creating this question in their mind, whoever created it, it might have been like, would you treat somebody worse for being in a worse class and better for being in a better class? And, like, maybe that was their connotation behind,
Probably.
like, trying to create this question.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not what it's asking. In our culture, we seem to, like, try to believe that every choice we're making is 100% our own and has no, like, bias anywhere, and, like, we're our own people, we pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, we make all of our own decisions completely 100% on our own, and it's like, no, who you are and your past experiences have shaped how you make decisions.
That is like the core problem with libertarianism. Right there is this, like, assumption that everything is about pull up your bootstraps individuality.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, there's a reason, like, most libertarians are, like, middle-aged white men. You know,
Yeah.
it's because, you know, they've been conditioned to see their own perspective as inherently neutral, and any other is going to be prone to bias.
Yeah.
You know, so, and also, like, you know, to view yourself as completely and fully self-sufficient as you drive down a road that is funded by literally every citizen, you know, is ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm not biased, you're biased. Come on now, just shut up. Overall, do you think men should act more like women or women should act more like men? What does this even mean?
What does it even mean? How?
You're gonna have to give us some specifics. How about you act like your own person as long as your own person isn't being a complete asshole?
Oh, man. If MRAs find this video, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be like a total sellout douche.
No, but that's the thing, like, they'll yell at me about you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'll be the thing.
If they find my Twitter, they'll, like, seek it out and then, like, yell at you at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That girl you were talking to is total bullshit.
Yeah. It's like, what? You just, like, came to troll me and you just, like, you got lost on the way to my house. It's like...
Yeah. Which is fine. Don't come to my house.
There isn't, like, any identifiable, like, address or...
No, there isn't. You can see fence and, like...
Yeah.
sometimes squirrels on the fence. I think
Right.
there was a squirrel earlier. Yeah, so should women act more like men or men more like women? This question literally makes no sense whatsoever at all.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Just
When you think about it, it makes no sense.
if you had children, would you be upset to discover they were dumb but nice?
Dumb how, really? I find that often when questions are asked like this, there's this weird tiptoey thing that happens where it's like they'll say something like, they'll say something like dumb or stupid, or they'll use some code word that it means a cognitive impairment, but if you ask them if it meant a cognitive impairment, they'd get all defensive.
They'd be like, no, more like Ashton Kutcher's character from that 70s show.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Not actually a disability. Like,
Yeah. So it's like it's like targeted bigotry and erasure at the same time.
Yep, exactly. No, we're not talking about that class of people that we're definitely not ever going to talk about and assume that anybody is
because we've
in.
been segregated from them since grade school. Like, if my children were Ashton Kutchery but nice, I'm okay. That would be fine. If they had cognitive impairments, then that would be fine too. If you're unprepared to have kids with cognitive impairments, you should not be having kids.
If you're unprepared to have anything but a 100% perfect child, don't have children.
Yeah.
If a blind date used a coupon while paying for dinner, how would you feel? Fine? Like they know what they're doing with spending their money?
Yeah. If you answered, like, negative to this, and you answered, I don't consider social class when interacting with somebody, you're full of shit. The idea of looking down on that is so fucking classist.
Not to mention, like, if you were going on a first date with somebody and they got a Groupon for something, because they got a Groupon and that's trendy, you probably wouldn't look down on it. But because they use
Yeah.
a coupon, which is literally where the Groupon fucking word came from, but
Yeah.
it's on a fancy fucking app on their phone, like,
That's such
come
a good
on
point.
now.
Such a
Like,
good point.
Groupon is trendy. Using a coupon, you cut that out of the newspaper, you had to print it off the internet. Ew, like, come on now.
Yeah.
Could you date someone who is or was any sort of sex worker?
Yes. Swerfs can go fly a kite.
Yes, yes. I'll put the acronym for that right here.
Yeah. Actually, the idea of not wanting to date a sex worker because they're a sex worker is just, it's so steeped in stigma and in, like, patriarchy and monogamy
Yeah.
and all of that fucked up cocktail.
Yeah, sexy times are only for your partner that you currently have, and if you've had a bunch of partners before, then that's bad. And, like, no, like, my favorite analogy for this is the cereal analogy that I've heard John Green use before, which is like,
John Green's good people.
oh god, he's good people. But his analogy is something to the effect of, like, it doesn't matter if I've had 49 types of different breakfast cereal before. If I'm eating this current breakfast cereal and I'm enjoying it, that's what's most important. Okay, well, thank you for drinking with me, Taylor,
You're very
for
welcome.
many, many episodes, it seems like. If you're seeing this ending, that means that we're not done yet, so look for the next episode next time. Down in the comments below, let us know what you thought about the questions that we answered in this episode, or even the questions that we talked about in this episode, and what your thoughts on them would be on the way down to the comment section. If you hit that subscribe button, that's always a really nice thing to do. You can like and share this as you see fit, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.